same thing. No, the Constitution is very clear that states run their own elections with input from Congress. Here's how Rebecca Green put it. She leads the election law program at William & Mary.
I think the place to start is with the U.S. Constitution and the framework that the founders set up. In some areas, the president does have inherent authority to act unilaterally without congressional authorization, but not in the area of elections.
So the courts would almost certainly block an effort like this, as they did for Trump's executive order last year, also attempting to change aspects of how America votes. Another legal expert, Justin Levitt, also noted that because the federal government doesn't have jurisdiction over elections, states could literally just ignore an order like this.
Let me ask you this, though, because, since the National Guard deployments started last summer, I mean, there's been the possibility, or at least the thought, of troops being deployed to polling places. What if the president did that?
Well, that is definitely a worry among some state voting officials, even though Green and others have told me federal law is very clear on this. The military or federal law enforcement cannot interfere in voting. You still saw Steve Bannon, Trump's former advisor, call for ICE at polling places on his podcast. And then when the White House was asked specifically about that, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said recently that she couldn't guarantee ICE wouldn't be around a polling location in November. But last week, notably, a senior Homeland Security official did make that guarantee. The official, Heather Honey, told a group of election officials flat out there will be no ICE presence at polling locations. Any implication otherwise is disinformation, she said. But some election officials are wary of putting too much stock in a promise like that, since before she was at DHS, Honey herself was a major disinformation source about elections.
NPR's Miles Parks, thanks a lot.
Thanks, A.
This is NPR News.
WNYC supporters include the new museum, dedicated to new art and new ideas, opening its expanded building on the Bowery on March 21st with the exhibition New Humans, Memories of the Future. Tickets at newmuseum.org.
Brooklyn Solar Works, a Brooklyn-based solar firm working to bring custom rooftop solar to NYC homes and businesses. Details at brooklynsolarworks.com.
The economic reverberations of war.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Schwab. At Schwab, investors get choices ranging from self-directed investing to full-service wealth management all in one place. No matter the investing goal, life stage, amount to invest, or know-how, Schwab can help. More at schwab.com.
From Marketplace, I'm Sabri Benishore, in for David Brancaccio. The war with Iran continues to disrupt oil production and shipping channels in the Middle East. It's also raising concerns about global inflation. International Standard Brent crude is up 6% this morning to more than $82 a barrel. A week ago, it was around $70. Airlines and travelers are still struggling with closed air routes and airports. 11,000 flights have been canceled, affecting 1.5 million passengers. Marketplace's Nova Safo has the latest.
Crude oil prices are rising over concerns that a key waterway for tankers, the Strait of Hormuz, located along Iran's south, will remain effectively off limits. About 150 ships are stranded. Insurers have canceled war risk coverage for tankers. Shipping rates are up, and container ships, not just tankers, are caught in the backup. Consumers may already be feeling the effects. Average gas prices in the U.S. have risen 10 cents in a day, according to AAA. Rising energy prices could hurt airlines, too, which are already struggling with disruptions along Mideast routes. Overall, analysts say the inflationary impact from the military conflict may be temporary and minimal if it is over quickly. But a prolonged war, a month or longer, could cause energy prices to skyrocket. I'm Nova Safo for Marketplace.
All right, let's do the numbers. Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ futures are all quite down, between 1.7 and 2.2%. The yield on the 10-year Treasury spiking, it's at 4.1%. A week and a half after the Supreme Court struck down many of President Trump's tariffs, the question of refunds for all the businesses that paid them is still hanging in the air. The Trump administration wanted to slow down the refund process. A federal court yesterday said no. On top of that, businesses are facing a whole new round of tariffs to disentangle. So We reconnected with Rachel Rosner to see how her business is doing. She's owner and founder of Eldon Street Tea Shop in Reston, Virginia. Rachel, welcome back.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Is it not kind of a math problem trying to navigate like which tariffs went away and then are replaced by which other tariffs at this point so far?
We try to keep up with the percentage. We do have a couple of industry wholesale companies and vendors that are closely watching every time these tariffs change, which is helpful. But also they are, kind of using it as an advantage as well, saying, oh, you better get your prices locked in before it changes. And that's not really great either. It creates a scarcity. So it's just kind of more of the same stress, more of the same fear, and more of the same problem.
A lot of companies are suing to get refunds. Are you?
With legal fees and the time and the commitment to it, we have to weigh out those pros and cons. And we are still considering whether that's an option for us or not.
I assume the government's not going to just automatically refund you without you having to work for it.
No, we're definitely going to have to fight for it if we do. And as the president said, it could take, several months to years to get that money back. And I think a lot of consumers also believe that they have rights to that money. But as a small business owner, having to pay for these tariffs upfront with money that we don't necessarily have and had to take loans out for so that consumers can continue to purchase those products, it really constrains the ability to move forward for small businesses to get that money that they need.
Do you think that prices would come down now or in the future, or are things too kind of crazy to know?
I don't think that prices are going to come down anytime soon, because until we recoup the cost of what we paid with the tariffs on the products that we purchased or didn't purchase, some businesses had to leave their stock at the port. Until we recoup those costs, then, we can't bring down our prices. And not only that, just the general price of everything has gone up. And unfortunately, this has a trickle down effect to my business. And I do think that if we push harder, that we would definitely lose customers if we go any higher.
Rachel Rosner, owner and founder of Eldon Street Tea Shop in Reston, Virginia. Thank you, as always. Good to talk to you again.
Good to talk to you, Sue.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Bitwarden Password Manager. Filing taxes involves managing multiple accounts and securely sharing sensitive information across devices. Bitwarden is designed to help users protect logins and documents this tax season. Bitwarden.com. And by GEP. With GEP Key Agentic AI and GEP Smart Software, GEP is at the forefront in agentic procurement orchestration and autonomous supply chains.
When the Supreme Court struck down...
Risperdal is medicated